Okay. Okay, so we need to figure out wanted is asking for recommendations. Yes, this is not. This is that, so this shouldn't change. Okay. This didn't need to change. Okay. Okay. So here, this should get triggered, right? So, wanted would be that and that. And so say if wanted, right? Okay, so then they bail out if they're not wanted, right? And so this one will check something in command extra config, right? So I can't remember where the I can't remember where it will be in command extra config. So if we were to make a data file out of just this, data file out of just that, and okay, so not data flow, not op. Alright, so make a data flow. We add the overlay into context and the results. See what happens. Or yes, so this is a class method. Okay, here we are now, we're in there. So plugin, recommended community standards. Okay, so this is in blank, okay. So that's what it's in. So it's in, so if not blank, then we'll do it. Format style, return, so bail. Okay, so if extra config plugin, so this is guaranteed by the format, but the format is a dict right now, so that's unfortunate. So we'll have to do this later, change this. That starts with or say, yeah, starts with, or let's see, yeah, recommended community standards. Right, so if you say please contribute recommended community standards, then we're going to say return true. And those should run. So the list has no actually starts with 0. Okay. So outputs results true. Okay, that's good. So we got a true. Okay, so let's throw the rest of those is meant on this repo, so on this repo into that flow and see what happens. one. Goes next. And here we are. I deleted a little print statement there. Oh, no comments. All right, okay, what do we got? Let's see, so running data flows being overlaid. Okay, so overlays installed. Okay, so these all get instantiated. CLI is asking for, okay, we forgot the inputs, didn't we? Yeah, we lost the inputs. Okay. So what do we see? Okay, so we see result. Get repo spec. All right, CLI has repos. CLI is meant on this repo. No, so we can get any there. We did get this there. Okay, we want it true. Okay, so now what do we have to take care of, right? So we have to take care of the expansion because those operations currently don't see expansion. So we need to modify op. Okay, so we can remove these functions for now. Let's just keep them here. Get diff. All right, let's see. So let's see this. Okay, so expand equals union. Okay, so let's do that. All right, get this. Get status. All right, get status. Get diff. Stage. So what do we have? Just that. Expand equals union. Okay, so let's just commit that. Oh, almost added everything. Df types. Okay, expand as alias or union. Okay. To allow for at op to at op to auto def or auto def, yeah, expansion along with outputs. Okay, expansion for output. All right, great. And then that's what we're going to implement next. So at HP, okay, so let's see what's here. Okay, so let's just do this static method one by itself because that's a big enough patch. And then let's not do this. Okay, so get this staged. All right, so that's what we've got. So commit. All right, so Alice CLI, please contribute. Okay, and what did we do here? So, I think, okay. All right, please contribute. Recommended community standards. Alice CLI, please contribute recommended community standards. Make methods static methods. Okay, and this is just actually please contribute, because it's not the CLI. We're in the CLI file, but let's just remove that for a second because we're focusing on the please contribute data flow, right? And this particular diff that we're seeing, right? Because we separated it out and we did add dash p, and so we're not adding the rest of the diff. Which would, because if we added the rest of the diff, then yes, we're talking about the CLI. So we're purposefully separating this because this is a different data flow and the other one is an overlay. Okay, so, oh, I almost did the A on this. Okay, let's see what we have left, right? So now that is much cleaner, right? So now we have the overlay by itself, okay? And the overlay uses expand, okay? And the overlay triggers the upstream because it's going to do the expansion in a second. Okay, great. So git status. So now we'll do git add dash p. Okay, and we'll say, you know, the overlay here, and then okay, initial overlay, and then we'll say Alice CLI, right? Because that's our top level interface in that case. And then we should just have this, and then we say, okay, so and then this is the CLI, and we're saying, you know, so this is our in progress, so deep in progress debugging overlay execution. That's what we're doing there. Okay, so let's add it, and then we'll push that. Okay, so now we're up to date. Great. Are we live? Okay, so all right. Let's continue our, what are we doing here? Playing with, oh yes, we're, okay, what's the name? Okay, so we're playing with modularity, right? Okay, so what do we want? We want people to be able to write their code, right, basically without knowing anything about DFML, and have it work. So, so let's see, based purely on types. So let's look at this. So I was also thinking that this perhaps, the system context perhaps provides a default overlay. So we have the upstream, which will be this, right? And then in the overlay, this system context will provide implementations. Basically, like it'll provide an operation implementation network, which will instantiate the implementations. And this way, we could have implementations which are even just doc strings themselves. And so, yeah, like simply doc strings with usage. So how would we show that? Basically, can we train her like we train ourselves? we should be able to. So this way that we're going about this, where we're writing the tutorial, right? So she should be following the same process, you know, sort of. We're going to give her, right, because we're expecting Alice to be able to do eventually what I'm doing right now, right? And so, you know, this is all building to that. And so, if she saw, so if we had a operation, so say we defined a class, and say we defined the class to say, okay, so she knew, okay, so she knew that, okay, wait a minute, we need to completely describe the problem space. So, how do we have her write the tutorials? Okay, so CLI is asking for recommended community standards. Let's play with this. So we already have concept tests, right? So we can just do this and it'll test it. So, and this is what we're going for, right? So this is what we want. In fact, we want eventually for it to be no test, right? And basically test everything by default. Okay. So, okay. So we'll do this. Okay. It's loading the file, so it should pick this up. So we'll run this. We'll switch to running console test on this. And we'll say that this is Alice, please contribute community standards. Alice, please contribute recommended community standards. Okay, so here, right, this should, okay, so when we run this, yeah, all right, okay. All right, let's run through this. Okay, so let's say, Alice, please contribute recommended community standards. Okay, let's go through and let's say, what if we were Alice right now and we were asked to please contribute the recommended community standards. And let's play it out from the terminal, right, so that we can capture what is the full description of state, right, the full transformation of state that we want to see. Okay, and we're going to use this to build up this chain of system context, right, so that we're going to help Alice build an understanding, because we have this chain of system context which completely describes the problem space. We're going to be able to build this understanding where eventually the goal will be that we'll have models which we train Alice off of, which map the implementations here to the it maps the implementation to the desired outcome, basically by configuring by guessing at the contents of what this function body should be, right? So we'll we'll eventually have a world where we've written so many of these that we just have that, and just simply by defining the what you want to see as the expected system output state, we'll be able to generate the code that gets us there. So, and it's because we have the data types. So, and we'll have deep instrumentation, right? And so we'll be able to look this correlation to understand what's related. And then Alice will then have that understanding, right? So that she can understand, here's how I affect the environment around me, right? This is the way she interacts with the world. And we need to document thoroughly so that she understands it. Okay, so, and also because the ideal communication mechanism. So, is something that is just human understandable and she understands as well. Okay, so, okay, so Alice, please contribute recommended community standards. Okay, so let's go do this. So let's do this. Okay, so okay. So what did I do the other day? So I must not have it on this machine. So so we want to play with, for this tutorial, a shelf or ghost. This is where we're going to, jump into recording the shell and stuff. So so I was asking for recommendation. Okay. Okay, so GHQ list. Okay, because I'm trying to decide, we said we were going to turn these things into RST and Python notebook files. And I'm like, should I just do this now? But this, I don't think we need to do this now. Okay, I'll do that later. Okay, we're already pretty down the road. Okay, so GHQ. Okay, so please contribute recommended community standards. So we're going to say, we're going to prefix everything that we submit with, or suffix everything that we submit with Alice in parentheses. That way we know it's from Alice immediately by looking at any issue, right? So we can see if she just created any issues, who they were from. Okay, and we should probably make her name dynamically. Okay, so please contribute recommended community standards. Okay, so issue list, search, Alice. Okay. Alright, yeah, okay. Just like, is it entity name? Is there, no, I don't think there's any other entity name at this point. So, okay, so search Alice. Okay, so okay, let's see, let's try this. Okay. Let's try escaping that. No. Okay, so basically these are the things that say Alice. Okay, so let's say community standards Alice. Okay, so let's see. So let's do the code of conduct. Okay, so yeah, okay, so here's what we would do. Okay, yeah, so if we wanted to do this, we're just going to document the steps we would take if we wanted to do it, right? So we would say, okay, check if we have any other issues open for the repo. All right, so dash R would be GitHub repo. Okay, and we're doing this search for recommended community standards Alice. Okay, so then, okay, so GitHub repo. So then we need GitHub repo set in the environment variables. So, and we should be escaping it like that. Okay, so okay, so no issues match your okay. So so please contribute recommended community standards. Okay, so there should be another one of these overlays that then says okay. So this should be a separate overlay, which is the GitHub related ones. I'm splitting it out now. I know I wasn't supposed to do that, but I'm doing it. All right. Okay. So please contribute recommended new standards GitHub issue overlay. Okay. So GitHub issue overlay. So that means we can create a GitHub PR overlay, which optionally takes, because I think someone implemented, who implemented that? All right, well, thank you to whoever. So, GitHub pull request overlay. Okay, so optional. Right, and we'll have a default of false. Okay, of none. Yeah, okay, so we'll do default none. So related issue. Okay, so. Okay, it's a related issue. And so how are we going to do this? We're just going to do it the same way as we did these. So we're going to say okay, so readme PR, code of conduct PR, contributing PR. Alright, so we're just doing this plain and simple. License PR, security PR. We can get fancy with it later. We're just going to do it all just like this for now. So repo directory as okay, so as right, okay, so here's the repo, here's the has contributing, and so then we'll use repo URL. I'm on YouTube. I'm on YouTube. Yay. Okay, so this one is this is quite the split episode. We're splitting, we're across two. So this is speaking of relative time. So we're working within two trains of thought at the same time, right? So we're playing with the ergonomics, we're in architect analysis, and we're also doing the execution, we're in coach Alice. Right, okay, so, but this one falls a little bit more into the ergonomics because we could have gone more straight into it, right? But we're clearly doing overlay on overlay on overlay right now. So, we're playing with the concepts. So, repo directory has contributing, so, code of conduct PR, so has contributing, and then we would say related issue. You know, what's the cleanest way to slim this down later. Okay, but we're going to be explicit for now. So related issue, my guess is most of this will end up being just for loops, right? But we're just not going to do that right now. So related issue. I want to just do for loops. Okay. So no, we're not going to do for loops. Okay, so optional equals none. Right, so the related issue would be repo directory has contributing issue, and then that would be taken care of here, right? So readme issue, and then we would say meta issue. Right, so we create the meta issue, and the meta issue, well, I guess go last, right, because it will take the readme issue. And so, okay, so, you know, could it just take, yeah, maybe we could just take issues list issue. List of okay. Yeah, so this takes a list of GitHub issues. And so these must return GitHub issues. So it takes a repo, and this isn't really super seeing this. Okay, so the README issue, we'll create the README issue, then we basically say, you know, give me the list of all the issues, right? So we want, is there a way to get an automatic type conversion on that? When we do an auto flow, maybe. I think when we do an auto flow, we could link that up. No, because it's a stream. Yeah, it's a stream. We can't do a list. Stop me if I ever try to do that again. I always try to do that. All right. So we're just going to be explicit again. So okay. Okay, so these are all optional. Okay. Okay, so those are all optional. GitHub issue README, and then we could also have path, optional README path. Let's see, we got README path. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is why. So it's verbose because we're maintaining our interfaces right now, right? But we're going to we won't have to maintain our interfaces like this in this verbose form forever. We're just doing this for now because we don't have all the time in the world to figure out what the right pattern is right now to do auto generation. But there is a right pattern, and we will find it. Or helper, but I'm just I can't do that right now. So. So GitHub issue README. So README path. Okay, so okay. So yes, this is how we would define it. Okay, so meta issue. And then this is where we open the one. So if these are all none, okay, so basically if all, so let's see, so basically what do we want to say? If you have no, if everything is none, okay, so if you have all the paths, okay, so basically go through all the locals. Okay, so body equals okay, so here we go. Alice, please contribute community standards overlay meta issue. Right, so what are we doing here? Okay, so let's pass a repo. And this is why we're doing it this way, because see, now we can just do very simple testing of this. Okay, so if we have this meta issue, body, okay, meta issue body. Okay, so then this is where we would put where's the docs folder? Oh no, there it is. You know it's there. Alright, this is where we put this. Where did that unit test go? Okay, so that's what we should see there. Okay. Alright, so this is what we should see here. I don't know what's up with my bin colors. Right, so but basically, where is this thing where we have the other one? Right. I know it's down here somewhere. Here it is. Alright, so here in the contribute CLI, where we're in the middle of making this little unit test, right, where we converted the one to the other, we run the flow, and that's supposed to be that, right? So this is the same test, right? We've just converted this, what was being called by instantiate. We just instantiated an ad hoc. We just instantiated an instance of the test case class, and then it called this sort of equal method so that we could just get that nice little error logging without actually instantiating a test case class, because we're running a CLI command, right? So, okay, so we're just now going to do that within this, which is a static method, which should take just this static data here. And so this way we can really easily test that. So this meta issue body, basically we can really easily test that this will give us the right format for the body, and then we'll create the meta issue based off of the meta issue body, right? And that will actually do the interaction with GitHub. And so you could potentially have, for example, like here, what we could do is we could have this, say, meta issue body, right? And it's not, okay. So we could potentially have this be exec instead of test, right? And then we could do meta issue. So create meta issue, right? And so then this might be meta issue body, okay, here. And then this comes from, I'll just put meta issue body. And then this output here will be meta issue body, right? And so then this is our method, right? But we're just going to do a bunch of sub-process commands in there. So why don't we actually just write out like how this is implemented as the sub-process commands, and then actually make the implementation just the execution of that, right? So we'll just do meta issue body here, right? And then repo. So okay, so and then this would be repo GitHub URL. Okay, or we'll just say this is GitHub repo URL. All right, so GitHub repo URL. Issue, create, title, issue body, so this would be meta issue name, right? Okay, so meta issue name. Actually, no, this is just going to be recommended community standards. Oh, that's okay, yeah, because this is the meta issue, and then meta issue body. So read GH issue read. Okay, so the body is dash dash body. Okay, so we just do dash dash body. Okay, so this is how we create the issue, right? So we say this is exec, and so then we make the type meta issue, right? Okay, and so now what we should probably do is, I wish we could class scope the definitions of these new types. That would be really nice if we could class scope the definitions of the new types. Is there a way to do that? And then still reference them. I think we can use our quoting forward ref stuff that we did to dereference them, even if they're given using quotes. And other things can reach into the class to grab it. And it's still scope, and we can blow up the module include on it to give it the right path. Okay, all right, so meta issue. So, okay, so let's play with that. So, related issue. Okay, so let's just play with this for a second more. Okay, no readme issue, right? And that would come from this overlay. So this overlay, this PR overlay, knows about the readme or the issue overlay, but it doesn't necessarily know that you know, yeah, so it knows about the issue overlay. And so yeah, so it only really it's going to take this though if it's there, right? Because there's a default. This is a default operation that defaults to none, right? So if that definition does exist, i.e. the GitHub issue overlay is applied, then the pull request overlay, if also installed or also active, will also be receiving the related issue of the README PR if the README PR method here will activate, will have a related issue if that GitHub issue overlay is active, right? So actually, so this one should be required here, but you could use it that way, okay? Because we do need an issue if we're going to open a PR. Alice doesn't do no issue, no PR, and that's just, we're just going to say that. Okay, so all right, so let's see. Let's just remove this. Okay, so all right, so repo related issue. Okay, so readme PR. So let's make the meta PR to create meta issue. Let's say meta PR. All right, okay, so related issue is meta issue, right? Okay, and then here we do our same thing, right? So we do our GHPR create, right? So meta PR. Okay, so I think we need a branch. branch. Okay, so branch. GHPR. Okay. GHPR create, right? So we know we want to create a pull request, right? So branch that contains the commits for your pull request. Okay, so we want head. Okay, so head. And this would be community standards. Okay, so standards, contribute community standards. Okay, so this is just, so this is the, okay, so PR for the meta. Okay, so there is no, so there's a meta issue, but there is no, okay, so basically close, this would be close meta issue, and it would accept the, when all the PRs are done. Okay, the code writes itself. Okay, so close meta issue. Okay, so this one we were actually trying to do is, let's call this readme PR. Okay, so readme commit or readme branch. Okay, so head is please contribute recommended community standards dot readme branch. Okay, so if we say Alice, please contribute recommended community standards, and there's a need to contribute a readme, then Alice is going to contribute. Then she's going to generate a readme branch within this recommended community standards flow. Okay, so and so that's going to go in here, right? So has readme, so we'll have another one that's with has readme, which is contribute readme. Okay, so what's contribute readme going to do, right? So contribute readme is going to say readme contents, which is going to be a new type, right? So where's, okay, repo.directory.readme.contents. Okay, so that's a stir, new type, so readme contents, okay, right, and so now assuming we can't do that, we have to do this forward ref stuff. This is going to be a lot of, we're about to detangle a lot of stuff here. So assuming that we're going to have this forward ref stuff, okay, so then basically readme contents, okay, and so then this would be readme branch, okay, because how do you contribute it? When you're contributing to a Git repo, you create a branch, right? And then what you do with that branch, that's the pull request, which is the overlay, which is specific to GitHub. It's how you're submitting the pull request, right? So you could create an overlay for any of your work on any project, right? And you could say, when I'm done committing my code, this is how I want you to push it, right? So this means that you no longer have to work with Git-based remotes. You can work with arbitrary remotes, which store the history of your repo and maybe translate to and from Git. Okay, so like the DID-based stuff, so we can have basically by importing, by serializing to DID-based format, what we're going to end up with is a mirror image of all Git repo history, or what will be now herstory because it's all Alice's, right? Because Alice is this, you know, bot which is going to sort of ride the override the web files. Data string and the rest of them. So it sounds ridiculous, but this is what we're doing. So okay. Yeah, it's like we get it for free just by serializing. Branch. Okay. README branch. Okay, README contents. All right, so we're just going to cut out all the rest of this right now. Has README, contribute README. Okay, so we're going to create a little blank repo, and we're going to do this in the blank repo. Okay, so okay, so okay. All right, so as README, quite honestly, you know, we should be able to do like bool, and then as README. No, we don't want to do that because that loses the data flow. But then maybe has README. Could be, okay, maybe this could be has README. And then you could just say, okay, so this is has README, and you define it with the static type check like that, which means that it'll look into the same class, and it'll say has README, so it says grab the return value of that. Then we don't have to worry about doing this has README thing because this becomes so we do generate definition output. Definition has README. Okay. Generate output definition when wrap with op decorator example. Okay. So, all right, we're doing a bunch of shaking up then. Okay, so basically, if it has the README, then contribute the README. And this is going to create a branch. So here we are again with our executing of this git commands. Okay, there we go. Okay, so contribute README. So how do we contribute the README? Okay, so we say cat. Can we do this? Did I implement this? I'm not sure. Here, what did we do? We had a yeah. Check this. So we could just do my okay. So awesome projects say git checkout cd repo.cd repo directory. Okay, so cd repo directory git checkout. We're like adding typing to bash through documentation of Python. Whatever works. I love it. Git checkout. Attribute recommended community standards readme. Alright, so git checkout Alice contribute recommended community standards readme. Git add readme.md. Right, so then this would be block markdown, and then we say file path readme.md. So this this method, this operation adds okay, so for block markdown, file path readme md. Okay. Adds. So I wonder if we could do like the tabs thing and say if you have this environment, then do this thing. If you have this environment, then do this thing. Right. For block markdown, check file path readme. Okay, so we could say readme md my path readme. Okay. So this isn't native RST anymore is the problem, but it will show up in Sphinx. Okay, so okay, so this operation. Okay, so these are different operations for readme contents. So this could go, and we're not going to do all this right now from executing this. I just want to see how